Today we're talking about how to handle people who expect you to work for free because you are self-employed, you're a freelancer, maybe you work in a creative industry, maybe you are a Christian who is an entrepreneur, and you are constantly getting requests to work for free and it is driving you nuts. I'm Cassandra Mack, founder of StrategiesForEmpoweredLiving.com and CassandраMackMinistries.com. For more information about my company, the ministry, my books, or my coaching services, you'll see the links in the video description box. So, many of you who are freelancers, you are entrepreneurs who are Christian, you are self-employed, are upset, frustrated, because you're constantly being bombarded by requests to work for free. And a lot of times you will do free work in the hopes that it will get you paid work in the long run, and you're not running your business like a business. And you are in business to make money, right? You were in business to serve your customers, but you need to be paid for your work. So we're going to be talking about that today. And we're going to be talking about the importance of not allowing, particularly complete strangers, to guilt trip you or to bring their entitlement to you to feel that you cannot charge for your services. If you are working, you need to be paid for your work. So let's talk about a couple of things that you can do so that you are not frustrated and you don't personalize when people ask you to work for free. So understand that oftentimes when people are coming to you, it is because you were good at what you do. It is because you provide a service or a product that they feel they need or that they desire. And so keep that in mind, that oftentimes it is because you are a recognized person in your industry, a recognized professional in your industry. People know that you paint houses well. People know that you can fix an air conditioner. Maybe you are a musician. Maybe you are a graphic designer. Maybe you build websites. I mean, the list goes on. You might be a nail technician, whatever it is that you do. And you are constantly being asked to work for free to the point where you feel like you're being taken advantage of. And what I'm going to say is going to be hard to hear, so I want you to brace yourself. So if you feel that you're being asked to work for free to the point where you feel you're being taken advantage of, that is not an other problem. That is a you problem. It is a boundaries problem. And here's why. It doesn't matter what the other person thinks. You went into business, whatever your business is. You're an artist, a musician, you make jewelry, whatever you do makeup. You are a photographer. So that you could do the thing you love and generate an income from the thing that you love or the thing that you're good at. Because you have bills like everybody else, right? There's rent, there's mortgage, you got a phone bill, you got to eat, you got to put gas in your car. If you ride in the bus or train, you need a Metro card. That's over $100, a monthly Metro card. So there are, at least here in New York City, so there are bills that have to get paid. Maybe you have children, you're putting them through college. They don't stay the same size. So as they grow every couple of months, particularly small children, you have to clothe them, you got to feed them. So all of these things cost money, and you can't pay your bills with compliments. So people can compliment you all day, every day. Take that with a grain of salt. You cannot pay your bills with compliments. But don't get frustrated when people come to you asking for your business or service for free. That's what I'm getting at. When you have boundaries in place that are unwavering, you're not frustrated because you're not personalizing the fact that people are asking for your service or product for free. Doesn't matter how they ask, how nice they ask, how entitled they feel, how upset they become. You are clear. So think about it for a moment. We'll use the store Saks. That was one of my first jobs in college. I used to work in Saks Fifth Avenue when I was in college, my first year of college. And think about if somebody came in the store and said, well, I really like this blouse, but I want it for free. And imagine that, working in Saks, when I was working in Saks, I actually worked in the jewelry department. And so I worked in fine jewelry. So imagine somebody says, I want this jewelry, I want this bracelet, but I don't want to pay for it. Now, I would lose my job if I'm like, here, take it. And I would not only lose my job back then, I would probably have some charges against me for theft. And The store is clear that no matter how much a customer likes something, you just can't give the product and service away for free. And imagine the person gets an attitude and says, well, I can't believe you won't give me this bracelet for free. I think you're selfish. I think you're mean. I think you're an idiot. I hate you. None of that would matter. And at some point, I'm not going to argue with the customer. That's an issue for my manager to resolve. So that's where I get the manager, and the manager handles that. The manager's not going to curse them out, hopefully, even if they are belligerent. A good manager is going to remain calm, cool, and explain. They're not going to explain 99 times, one time. And when they see they're not getting anywhere, they're going to call security. Now this is an issue for security to deal with. And so what security measures do you have in place around your mental space as it results to your time and your services, so that you are not getting unduly frustrated when it is simply a boundary issue? A person can put the pressure on, but it is up to you to be unwavering in your boundaries. And what happens a lot of times is when somebody is requesting your service or your product for free, because they are one individual, they are presuming in many cases that they are the only one writing to you, reaching out to you, not knowing that you probably got 10 requests this week for free products or services. Or if you are a larger, if you have a larger base, you're getting hundreds of requests like that. And there is no way that you can give away hundreds of hours of your time and not be physically exhausted and still run your business, because just like they have bills to pay, you have bills to pay. And I don't know any rental agency where you can say to them, well, I can't pay my rent this month because I designed 10 websites for free and I didn't make any money, so I can't pay my rent. And the rental agency is going to say, no problem. You just give it to us whenever you feel like it. Whenever you start charging for your graphic art services and your web design services, we'll wait around for you to pay your rent. I don't know of any rental agency that does that, or if you have a mortgage, I don't know of any mortgage company that does that. And so at the end of the day, you have bills that you have to pay. I'm going to give you some scriptural references also in terms of what we're talking about today. So don't allow people to exploit you, because unpaid work is a form of exploiting your talent, right? And so here's the thing. Now, there are times where when you're first starting out, you need to build a clientele, and you may work for free because you have to build a clientele. So you may decide to take 1 to 2 projects so that you can, through word of mouth, through the recommendation, but there is still a payoff for you. So it might be the first 2 clients that, let's say you design websites. You design their website and you're able to put their websites on your portfolio, and you say, in return, I'm going to put your website on your portfolio. I need you to write me a recommendation going into the details of what I did for you, the services I provide, and how it's helping your business. And then you're going to barter. You're going to have some sort of agreement that feels like an exchange that works for both of you. But remember, that is on your terms. That is not somebody demanding your time, your service, your product. That is something that you are agreeing to, or that you have decided because it is part of how you were going to set up your business for future success. That's not the same thing as somebody demanding your time and your service. You're choosing that because it is part of the building strategy of what it is that you do. Or perhaps you are bartering. So let's say again that you design websites and you were amazing at the design, the graphic design, but you have a friend who is a writer and they develop content, but they're not really good with web design. So maybe you design their website for free and they develop all the content for your website. Like you talk them through what it is you're trying to sell, and they're going to put the wording. And that is a fair exchange because you both got something that you both found of equal value. Although the services are different, you've agreed to this. So it's of equal value, right? So there are times where you will barter with people and you will be very specific about what those bartering terms are. It's like, you got the rice, I got the beans. You get the gist. And you're both agreeing to the terms of the bartering agreement. But when somebody is trying to totally get your services for free and there is no harvest for you, that is not bartering. Now, let me also say a third scenario, because there are exceptions to every rule. Sometimes God will put it on your heart to bless somebody, but that's God putting it on your heart, not a person who feels entitled. Be very clear about that. That is God putting it on your heart that you will bless this particular individual in this circumstance. There are plenty of times that we give a lot away for free. We give away products, hoodies, books, but that is God-led. That's not a person who's going to tell me what I can and cannot do. That is God-led. So be very clear and don't allow yourself to be manipulated, especially Christians who are entrepreneurs, because oftentimes people will take your Christianity as if it means that you are a doormat and you are just supposed to engage in things that don't benefit you at all. And that's not really the reality of life. And you are not called to be a doormat. And you are supposed to be paid for your labor. And so be very clear about that, and don't let somebody exploit your gifts and your talents. Don't let someone constantly pull at your anointing to the point where you have nothing left for yourself, because people will pull on you all day with no regard for how you feel and what you're going through. So be very clear about that. If you're providing a service, you should be paid for it, whether the pay is you're bartering and it's payment in terms of they're providing a service for you, whether it is the pay that it is going to pay off because you're just building your business and so it's exposure. But at some point you can't continue being paid in exposure, because I don't know any internet service provider or telephone service provider where you can say, well, I'm going to pay you with some exposure. So at some point you need the cash, because you have to be able to generate an income just to live in our society. And so I want you to really begin to frame it from that perspective, so that when people get upset because you won't work for free, you don't return that negative energy, and you don't get in the space where you are allowing their upset to cause upset for you. That is their upset. Let them hold on to that. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Let them stew in that. That's not your business, and it's not your personal problem. So when you are clear about that, it allows you to have the clarity and the presence of mind to run your freelance business like a business. Whether you paint homes, whether you paint cars, whatever you do, whether you paint nails, you can insert the thing that you do, whether you are a career coach and you help people with their resumes, whether you are a fitness trainer, whatever your thing is, right? So with that being said, here are a couple of things that you may want to keep in mind so that you don't frustrate yourself. So have some clear boundaries. What are the things that you're willing to barter if you're in the stage where you need to barter? What are the things you're willing to barter? Be very clear about that, so that if somebody comes to you wanting your service for free, you can turn the conversation into a bartering conversation and say, well, let's see what we can barter. And that's only if you choose to. You're not obligated. 2, are you in a season of your business where you're just starting out and you have no clientele? And so you're working for free, but you're really not working for free. You're not working for money. You're going to take on 2 to 3 clients with the specific understanding that you're going to be able to use them as a reference. And don't just go on a word. Let them write the reference letter up for you that you can put on your website. Let them do a video testimonial. So it has to be very clear terms that you both agree to. So those are some things to think to put in mind, to keep in mind. And where are the instances where God is leading you to be a blessing? And remember, the key is God is leading you. Don't let these people out here manipulate you. God is leading you. And people will say, God told me that you are going to develop my website. If God didn't tell you that, don't you listen to that foolishness. Do not let people game you and manipulate you because you are a Christian. Do not allow that foolishness. Do not allow that. And so if God didn't tell you that, don't fall for that. And a lot of Christian entrepreneurs tend to fall for that. So be very clear about that. And again, being firm doesn't mean being nasty. It just means you're unwavering in your boundaries. In fact, the Bible's very clear about that. The Bible's clear that your yes is to be your yes and your no is to be your no, right? It says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything more than these comes from the evil one. And that is Matthew chapter 5, verse 37. So be clear about what you're going to say yes to, what you're going to say no to. And this way you can have a conversation without being upset. So what can you do? I'm going to offer you just a couple of tips. And we'll dive deeper into this in the membership community, but in the general public video, I'll give you a couple of tips. So number one, when an individual reaches out to you wanting your services for free, whether they reach out by email, whether they call your business phone, don't be afraid to drive the conversation in the direction of the service that you provide. Stop being frustrated. Simply drive the conversation in the direction of the service you provide. So, you know what, Sally, I've really been meaning to call you because I know that you have a resume writing business and I don't have a resume, and I was wondering if you could do my resume for me. And I really would like to get that done. No need for you to be upset. Simply say, I'd be happy to assist you with that service. And you can send over your rate sheet. If you give me your email, I'll send you over my rate sheet so that you know the rates that I charge for a resume and a cover letter, a resume, cover letter, and a mock interview, depending on the services that you want. So I will send you over my rate sheet by the end of the day, and I would be happy to have a follow-up conversation once you look over the rates. Very matter of fact. No shade. You're running a business. And so let's say that they say to you, well, I really was hoping that you could just look over and walk me through the steps. So essentially they want it for free. And so no need for you to get upset. You simply repeat, again, I would be happy, to walk you through those steps, but it's going to come in the form of one of those services on the rate sheet. And just let me know, which service you're interested in. I have to go. You can fill in what you have to do. I have to go. I have to follow up on some emails. I have to follow up on some calls. If you run a business, there's going to be things you have to do. I have to tend to some, other things that I need to get done today. But just drop me a call, send me an email, when you're ready. And end the conversation. That's it. And so let's say that they send you a follow-up email. I looked over your rate sheets and I can't afford the rates. And but I still want to. You don't need to have another conversation at that point. You don't need to send them an email saying, well, I told you twice that these are my rates. At that point, it is what it is. Now, what's optional is, and this is always a good idea, is if you know someone else who may be just starting out, and this is really helpful, right? And maybe they may have a lower rate than you, because let's say that you've been in your business for, I don't know, we'll say 5 years, and you know someone who just started and they have about 6 months under their belt. But they're good at what they do, but they have 6 months under their belt. So they're probably going to be at a different rate than you. You can refer that person to them. And so you can respond to the email saying, while I'm not able to do the service that you're asking for free, I do know someone who may be able to work within a smaller budget. Here is their email. If you're interested in following up, take care. And if they send you something else, you just don't answer, because at that point, you're no longer conducting business. They're being a nuisance. And so don't be afraid. And this is the key. People get very offended with no nonsense people who call it like it is. A lot of people get very offended with my style, that I'm no nonsense, that I call it like it is, and I don't care one bit. And so when you're clear about that, because I think that it is fear oftentimes that you allow people to walk all over you. You can be kind. You can be compassionate. There was nothing that was said in that email that was unkind. While I'm not able, to do the work for free, I do know somebody who has 6 months experience under their belt, or who's just started their resume writing business, who may be able to fit within a smaller budget. Here's their number and information if you want to follow up. Take care of yourself. Wishing you all the best. There's nothing nasty about that. You can't help them. It's that simple. And so there may be times that you will be led But remember, it is God-led, not manipulated. Manipulation is witchcraft. It is God-led, not manipulated. Don't let these people manipulate you, even if they try to do so through religion. Do not allow people to manipulate you. Be very clear. Be God-led. Pray on it. If you're not sure, pray on it. Pray on it. God talks to you, just like he talks to me. So pray on it. And you will know. It will come to you. It will come to you in the form of an idea, a scripture, a thought. You will know. Something will be said. Maybe watching this video will confirm. Listening to this video will confirm some things for you. So one of the things when I just started in training, I had a network of other trainers, and this is important in any business, right? Is to have a network of people. These are not people that you are competing with, but these are people who you may refer. So it's a network of people where you can refer that do similar things to you. And so when I first started out in training, I started out doing IL training. IL means independent living. And I was training primarily in foster care organizations, doing IL workshops for youth, independent living workshops for youth. Then I started doing how to teach independent living for the youth service practitioners. Then I started getting government contracts and doing workshops for the government workers working in the youth agencies. And then it graduated from there, different, levels. And one of the things that I would do is, as I got busier and I could not be everywhere all at once, and I was getting lots of requests for training, I would have other trainers who would come and say, hey, I just started my training business, or I've been training for a year, and maybe I heard about their training. If you know anyone who's looking for someone that trains in such and such, please let me know. And so I would take the person's card. And what I would do is sometimes I would, if time permitted, I would sit in their training, even if I sat in an hour or two and I couldn't stay all day, so I could observe firsthand. And if I saw, that it met up to my standards, then I would refer that individual. And so if somebody came and they said, well, we can't afford this price, but we are looking for a trainer for so-and-so, then I would say, I know someone who trains very well. They've been training for a year, and I'm going to give you their number and their email, and they may be a better budgetary fit for you if I'm not it. And then I would refer them. And so are there other people? Because as you grow, you're not going to be able to take on everything. And as you grow, part of growth is letting go of clients that don't fit with where you are going, right? And that's okay, because there's going to be somebody who is going to be the perfect fit for them. You never want to work with a client where you are begrudging about the work, because you're not going to do your best. You never want to work with a client where you feel frustrated and you feel like you are being pinched. You're not going to give your best. You're not going to show up as your best, and you're not going to work in a way where you're working with integrity and you're working with joy, and you are working at the highest level that you're able to produce. But there is going to be somebody coming behind you, right, that is going to be the perfect fit for the client who can no longer fit where you are going. So once I was no longer doing youth trainings, because there was a time that I stopped doing the youth trainings, and I started doing trainings for the actual youth workers, those who were working in the foster care homes. So then I had to find other people who could actually do the trainings for the youth when I would get those training requests. Then when I stopped training the youth service providers and I started doing management trainings, then I had to find other trainers that were training in the youth service provider space so I could make those referrals. So it's a little noisy. Please bear with me. I think most of you know I live in New York City. There are horns. Oh my gosh, this is just driving me nuts. But we're going to press through. So I would find other trainers, who could fill those spaces. So maybe, like I said, you've been a painter for a long time, or maybe you've been a makeup artist or a nail technician, and you know someone else who just got their license in that area, and that may be people that you refer to someone who is not able to afford the services at the level that you provide, but they can afford the services at the level that they provide. So that is something that's really helpful, because you're not leaving people high and dry. You're referring when you can. It's not always possible, but if it is, that is really helpful. So that is it. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to have free things available, right? And so here's an example of what I mean by that, and then I'll give you an example from my own life. So let's say that you are a nail technician And you also have a YouTube channel where you do nail tutorials. And while you may not be able to do free nails for an individual who wants you to do their nails, but you can refer them to your video that gives them a tutorial of how to give themselves a manicure. Maybe you are a fitness trainer, and while you are not going to do free fitness training for everybody who calls you, and you're not going to do free fitness training, but you may have a situation where when they sign up on your website and they give you their email, you send them a video that has a few workouts, or a PDF that has some healthy things to eat. So there's something that you have for free for those who are not able to pay for your services. You have some free available options. Even for myself, right? I have my coaching, my premium VIP coaching, and that is a premium service. But then I also have public YouTube videos that are free. And so there are videos that are public videos available to the general public on my YouTube channel, and that is a free way that you can access my teachings. Another free way is I have a podcast. And so you can listen to the podcast. That's another free way to access my teachings. A third free way, so that's free way number 2. A third free way to access my teachings is to come to our live church by phone service. So you have 3 free options to access some of my teachings. Now, you're not going to access everything, but you can access some of my teachings free. And so whatever business you are in, are there free things that you can give out, whether it is some sort of YouTube tutorial, maybe there's a podcast, maybe there is a tip sheet that offers 10 tips, 7 tips, and they sign up at your website and they get 7 tips to paint neatly. If it's painting their homes, whatever it is, you get the gist. You can insert the specifics relative to your business. These are some things that they can have at their disposal if they're not able to afford your services, so that you are generously giving of yourself, but not at the detriment of the income that you need to pay your bills. And everybody has different expenses, right? No one can count your money, because one person's expenses may be very different from someone else's expenses. Now, if you have someone, and even though you have all of these free things available, you will still find people that are entitled. And they will feel like, well, there's 365 days in a year, and I don't understand why you can't take an hour to sit and talk with me. Don't let that get to you. That is not your business, nor is it your problem. You have free things available. If they don't want to take advantage of the free things, that's on them. You cannot run a business and run your business into the ground. So be very clear about that. Be very clear about that. So that's something else that you can do, or offer things that are low cost. So I have low cost options to access the knowledge also. There are books that are under $20. There are books that are, like I said, under $20. So it's not a premium price. And there are free things. So you cannot run a business if you're doing everything for free. So those are some things to keep in mind. And then thirdly, God will lead you and God will inspire you in terms of when to give back. And so I am a big believer in sowing and the power of paying it forward. But I sow God-led, not people-led. So nobody can manipulate me. Nobody can guilt trip me. I don't care if you mad, you got an attitude. Don't matter to me. And so it is God-led. So a person can be like, well, I don't understand why you can't coach me for free. I don't understand why you can't take the time and help me with my business. And they don't realize that, time is in limited supply. You have other priorities with your time. You have your business. If you're in business, you have a family. If you have a family, whatever your personal life entails. But you do not owe someone an explanation as to what you do with your time. They are not God. And so when you are clear about that, you don't allow people to guilt trip you because they feel entitled to your product, service, or your time for free. And when you are clear about that, you're immovable because your boundaries are very, very clear. But God will lead you as to what to sow in. So maybe there are certain ministries that you are benefiting from, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to sow here, and this is how I give back. Maybe there is a cause that you believe in, and you sow into that cause. So it may be a charitable organization. It may be a cause that you sow into. Maybe you decide that, you know what, I'm going to take a percentage of my money and I am going to feed the homeless. I'm going to buy cold waters and sandwiches, and I'm going to give it out, once a week, once a month, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe I'm going to give to an organization like St. Jude's. I'm going to give a portion of my income to St. Jude's. So it will look different to each person. And so even here at Cassandra Mack Ministries, we give generously. We believe in sowing. So we sow into people's lives, but I sow God-led. Can nobody manipulate me or game me. It is God-led. And so a person can come all day, every day. God told me you're going to do blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, you sit right there and think about that. And so it is important to understand that there are plenty of people that as God leads, we will sow a product. We will sow a t-shirt. We will sow a hoodie. We will sow money. We have helped people pay their bills. And that is God-led. Again, it is not people-led. We will not be manipulated. And so when you are clear about that, and be clear that manipulation is witchcraft. I don't care who it's coming from. Even if a person tries to mask it behind religion, manipulation is witchcraft. And so when you are clear about that, that allows you to make very clear, decisive decisions around what you're going to sow into. Very prayerful decisions. Lord, where should I sow this? Where should I sow my time? Who should I sow it into? God will lead you. Don't be people-led. Be God-led. And so with that being said, I hope that really helps those of you where you feel like you're being taken advantage of because people are constantly pulling at you to work for free. That is a decision that you get to make. And I gave you some very specific things that you can do. I gave you the script of what to say, the importance of maybe having something for free, even if it's a tip sheet, the importance of building a network of people within your industry so that you can refer one another if you're not able to take on a project. Because when you refer people, guess what? They're going to also refer you. Right? You're going to come to an understanding. You're going to talk the terms out so that you're clear about what this relationship, this business relationship is going to look like. So you can have free things that are available for those who are unable to pay for your services that you can direct them to. You may have a lower cost option of someone who's just starting out and they're professional too, but they're just starting out where maybe you have 10 years in the game. So these are some considerations. You will also be prayerful about where to sow. So there may be times where God is like, you know what? I want you to do this, or I want you to give this, or I want you to do this person's makeup. And maybe you're a makeup artist and you are led to sow your time into people who are going through chemo. And you decide that once a month, I'm going to do two faces in terms of makeup for people who are going through chemo, and God put that in your heart, and that's what you do, and that's how you give back. So it'll look different for each person, but don't let people, particularly complete strangers who you don't know from a can of paint, do not allow yourself to be manipulated or guilt-tripped into believing that you have to work for free simply because they feel entitled to your service, product, or time for free. And the same goes for family and friends, because sometimes they're the worst. The same goes for family and friends, because here's the thing. If you are painting everybody's house, and let's say you have a business where you paint homes, you're painting, your aunt's house, your uncle's house, you painted this one's bedroom, and this one gives you $2 for painting their bedroom. How can you pay your internet service provider with $2? How can you pay your mortgage with $2? And are those same family members and friends, if you get yourself in a bind where you cannot pay your bills, where you cannot feed your children, where you may have medical bills, they gonna come pay them bills for you? Are they gonna come pay them bills for you? So do not allow yourself, even with friends and family. You might have a friends and family special pricing. A lot of businesses have that. They may have friends and family day. So you may have friends and family day once a month or every quarter. You'll figure out the details. Or you may have special friends and family pricing, and then you'll figure out what that looks like. But do not allow yourself to dig a hole, a financial hole, because you were not a responsible steward of your business. If God gave you a business idea, you were supposed to steward that responsibly. Are you stewarding your business responsibly, or are you running it into the ground because you're allowing people to manipulate you? So these are some things to keep in mind. So 2 Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 10 says, "For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, he shall not eat." How are you going to eat if you don't work? And work means that you're being paid for your labor. How are you going to eat? And we're going to broaden eat, not to just mean eat food, but pay your bills. How are you going to eat? How are you going to feed your kids? If you're taking care of an elderly parent, how are you going to take care of these things if you're not working? Because if you're not being paid and you're working for free, that's not work. That's charity. So how, and charity is a good thing, but you got to separate charity from work. We do a lot of charity. We sow into a lot of people's lives. We are generous givers here at Cassandra Mack Ministries. We believe in generosity, but what we don't believe in is manipulation. We don't believe in being guilt tripped. We don't believe in people being entitled. That we don't believe in. But we believe as God leads us, not another man, not another woman, as God leads us, we give as God leads, not as people feel entitled to. So be very clear about that, so that you don't run yourself in the ground. If you want more tips, tools, and just techniques of really how to become a person who is unstoppable in your endeavors, pick up the book, Unleash Your Unstoppable. That book is going to bless your life. It is a book of prayers, strategies, and scriptures to unlock potential, transform your life for victorious living. It's available at Amazon and I believe Barnes & Noble. So pick up Unleash Your Unstoppable. That is a game changer. I would also encourage you to pick up Speaking Life into Your I Am. That is a book of Bible-based affirmations to really affirm who you are as a child of the Most High God. So if you don't know who you are in God, it's going to be hard to feel confident even in your business. How are you going to be confident and you don't know who you are? You don't know that you're the head and not the tail. If you don't know that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, if you don't know your gifts will make room for you, that's why you're giving everything away, because you don't know that they'll make room for you. You got to know these things, and not just know them intellectually. They got to be applied. So Speaking Life into Your and my books are books that are meant to be tools, like a toolbox. It's not meant for you to read and, cast aside. You take it out whenever you need a self-esteem boost. You take out my book whenever you need to be reminded of who you are in God. You take out my book whenever you need to be reminded to continue to move forward towards your goals and your dreams. Just like you have a toolbox, and anytime something needs fixing, you take out the appropriate tool. That's how my books are meant to be used. So pick them up. They're going to bless your life. Invest in yourself. This is important. Invest in your personal development. Invest in your level up if this is your winning season. Also, are you a member of the YouTube channel yet? If you are not a member, what are you waiting for? Beginning the first Wednesday in July and every first Wednesday of each month, I'm going to be doing a live mental self-care and well-being call. Now, most of you know how expensive therapy can be. Now, this is not therapy, but it is a group situation where you will be able to get some mental self-care tips and tools that are Bible-based. I'm going to be leading you through some self-care exercises, and it's going to be once a month for members only who are at the tier 2 or higher level. And knowing how expensive therapy can be, if you want some tips and tools, I would encourage you to join the membership community so that you can get access to that monthly call beginning in July. To join the community, all you got to do is click on any of my videos where it says join button. It'll show you the 3 levels of membership and what comes with each level, and you can select the level that makes sense for you, that fits your needs. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time.